nozzle uses water, shoots water up against the plastic surface, and then ricochets it off, and that takes energy. So, the standard nozzle uses water, shoots water up against the plastic surface, and then ricochets it off, and that takes energy. So a 15-half Rainbird nozzle uses 1.85 gallons per minute at 30 psi. But if it goes to 50 psi, it increases the flow rate. With what we do with our technology of precision sprays, I don't know if you've used any of these precision sprays yet, but they have this hydraulic chip. It's not electric or anything, but it uses an oscillating stream, so we don't lose the energy of that ricochet, and so that allows us to drop the flow rate 35%, but we still cover the same area. So if you ever have a low pressure problem with spray heads, or maybe the last few heads are not popping up, because I know on shopping centers sometimes they put 30, 40 heads on a line. This will solve that problem almost all of the time. And these are all the same patterns as what you would have as a Rainbird. If you have an 8-half, you put this 8-half, it'll throw the same pattern, but with 35% less water. Okay, so that's a real key product. We send it to CIT. CIT is a Center for Irrigation Technology. I don't know if you've heard of that or not, but that's kind of the industry standard for testing. All of us manufacturers, if we want to tell a landscape architect our product is more efficient, we have to show them the CIT data. So what we did here is we said if you run it at 30 psi, half circle operation, which is the most popular, the Rainbird rotary nozzles came out with a 50% uniformity. The MP rotators was a little bit better, and then we were up at 69.9. So different. So what we do is put the water down more slowly, because we're only an inch per hour application rate versus 1.6 for Rainbird. Now the MP rotator is a very good product, but it wants to go from 13 feet to 20 feet. Now they've introduced this MP 800, which is down from basically 8 feet to 12 feet. But the problem is that the application rate is so low, it's 0.4 of an inch. So I don't know if you ever have to deal with water windows, where you have to water from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. and you got to get that. And here's the thing: any rotating nozzle, even a stream rotor, the Toro stream rotor, or an MP rotator, or even we have a rotating nozzle, and you'll see a video of it. It has stronger streams than an MP, and you don't have to increase the time as much, but you have to make a decision, or your customer has to make a decision. If you want it to green all the way to the edge, you have to start to throw about 18 inches here, okay? But if you don't want any water here on this, then you're going to have stress here.
You're going to have stress, exactly.
And it's a matter of choice, because you can't get away from that with the stream, rotating stream. Now, I want to tell you that we have something that's very, very interesting with our nozzles. When we developed this, we created a 150. Instead of 180, we created a 150, and we're using the 150s. Like this entrance in Corona to the Stater Brothers Shopping Center has a slope, and so they have 6-inch pop-ups with 15-foot, and the 15-foot standard units are throwing, onto the roadway. So because it's shrubs and ground cover, we don't have to get water right at the edge. So what we did is we used the 150. So that saves, instead of 180, we just do 15 degrees less here, 15 degrees here. So because it's not turf, you save water because it's 150 instead of 180, but you also save water because the flow rates, the application rate is lower. So it's a real, I think, and we offer it in the 10s and the 8s and the 5s, all down. So that's an easy way to explain the water savings. And it was recognized by the Irrigation Association in Australia. It's smart, so it's got a good reputation. But I'm going to tell you right up front, when you do a retrofit, if your heads are below grade, if they're popping down into dirt, then you have to I would advise that you first raise that head before you do the retrofit.
Or change it out.
Yeah, or change it out to a higher pop-up.
Yeah,
But
it's just
under lawn, but what we do with, if we're in, again, where there's not a lot of traffic, walking traffic, but the head's down below grade, I don't know, have you seen the PA80 adapter? That screws on to the pop-up stem, right? And then what you do is you can either put a, whoops, that's not a, you can put either a Toro, if you're dealing with Toro.
Oh, the shove adapter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or you put a Rainbird shrub adapter. And so the nice thing about the Rainbird PA80 is designed to still seal effectively. So it doesn't increase any flow by, it doesn't cause any problems. Your seal-o-matics still work. And it's a lot faster without it having to dig out the head. But this is what I was referring to, the 150. You can see how it just kind of curves away from the edge. And we use that at March Air Force Base, where they were just throwing on the sidewalk a lot. And so that happens to be the 10-foot gun. The thing about the precision nozzle, it looks like there's these gaps, but it's because that oscillating stream, you know, what we're doing is we're taking like an instant picture, and so the streams are not, you know, they're going to go and fill in. But they do have a little characteristic small gap right here, but in all the testing it has not been any issue.
Problems.
Now here's the other thing that I really like about the precision nozzle, and that is, that's a pressure compensating disc. And of course, you know, whenever you have high pressure, it increases the flow rate. It hurts how evenly the water is being dispersed. But what option do you have before this? The only option you had was, okay, that doesn't fix the problem. What's the other solution? You got to replace every head with a pressure regulating head. That's too expensive.
Yeah. So the screen, the screen does
the job.
provided you're in the 45 to 55 psi. So what I'll do is if I have 80 psi, I'll turn the flow control down to get to about 55 psi, and then I know that the pressure compensating screen will take care of it. And what it does is it evens it out everywhere. So all of a sudden I can get everything to pop up. So,
you know, like on the parkways, you turn on the valve and start like whistling. That's what they have the pressure.
Yep. And you know, Rainbird has the pressure compensating screens, but you have to buy the screen separately from the nozzle, and you have to decide what's what. When you use our nozzle, it comes in the bag. The screen is already pre-assembled. It's all done for you. And here's the interesting thing that's pretty amazing. Like here's a 10-half nozzle from Rainbird. Puts out 1.02 gallons per minute. When it's at 50 psi, this is based on Rainbird's own website. What do? Because of the pressure compensating screen, we continue to be at 0.51. So we're half the flow rate. The Rainbird is putting out twice as much water as our nozzle because of the higher pressure. And so when you have those higher pressures going to the pressure compensating stream, which by the way, that whole nozzle assembly, it's rebatable. So it kind of costs you $2.25. Your customer can actually take your bill for $4 because you can include installation. If you guys could do the installation, for $180 a nozzle, basically your customer will get a full rebate for the nozzle. The way the rebate programs work is they rebate to the end customer and based on the invoice from the contractor to the customer. So if you're buying that product for less from the distributor, that doesn't matter. It's what you charge your customer. If you decide you would like to receive the rebate as a contractor, as long as you have a C-27 license, you have liability insurance and workman's comp, you qualify to fill out a form that you will be approved by Metropolitan Water District to be a certified, or to be a direct rebate contractor, an MWD direct rebate contractor. You're authorized by MWD not to have your customer ask for the rebate, but you ask for the rebate. Now the challenge there is your customer will go, oh, that's great, so you're just going to do it for free, and then you're going to get the rebate. Well, that means you have to be able to fund, But let me just say that working with your sales rep from Hydroscape, they can work with us, and on retrofit projects, you know, we can provide dating to Hydroscape, who then can provide dating to you. The idea being, you don't pay for the nozzle until you get your rebate.
Okay.
So that's the only way I think it makes sense to work, because otherwise you'll be fronting tens of thousands of dollars and be at the mercy of the water agency to rebate you. I mean, basically, the deal is, hey, you don't pay the distributor until you get your rebate. So no, that's an option.
Yeah.
If you want any help on signing up for that, feel free to give me a call. I can come to one of your offices and, you know, work together.
Yeah.
We fill out the form online. You don't even have to mail anything. We just have to scan, you know, a couple things. So keep that in mind.
Do you do presentations for like property management?
Oh, we'd love to do that. You know, certainly we can. You tell us, hey, we've got 15 minutes, we've got half an hour, we've got. And then what we can do is come and say, hey, this is what our experience has been. These are some of the other agencies that have worked with this program, and we'd be
Well,
very
and
happy.
we just focus on what pertains to that,
Yes.
you know, building, shopping center,
Exactly.
whatever it might be, you have to go through, right? Just-
Right, because the idea is that they're interested in, okay, how much do you want and how much am I gonna save? That's really the key question, because they trust you to deal with the technical issues. So if you know your labor and you know the cost of the nozzle and what the rebate is, then what we can do is make a very short and sweet presentation and show them what the agencies will rebate. So yeah, absolutely, we'd be delighted to do that. So this just shows for every nozzle type at 50 PSI, whether it's a 15, a 12, a 10, a 8, they're always going to be twice the flow rate.